So you finally found your dream home, but it needs a little bit of work and you've decided to take on a remodel project. So where do you begin? So the key to every successful remodel project is having a good contractor. And I'm about to teach you how to get there. So the first thing I like to figure out is if I'm going to be working with an interior designer. So the first question you should ask yourself is, do you want to work with or do you need an interior designer? A lot of people believe that an interior designer's job is to curate and purchase things like furniture and wallpaper, but that's not necessarily what they do. If you have a large project, an interior designer can be a huge asset to your project because you will want to find an interior designer that also specializes in interior architecture and design. This way, they will be able to help sketch things to help envision your project, and they are also experienced in hiring proper drafters that will also help your general contractor or architect move your project along. So interior designers can be a huge asset to your project if it requires changing anything structural or changing design spaces, such as adding a bar into a great room space or creating an upstairs game room. So things like that, to me, you're going to want to bring in an interior designer. And a lot of times when you do bring in the interior designer, they have access to general contractors as well, that they already work very well together. And this is important too, because you don't want your designer and your contractor butting heads, which happens a lot. Contractors generally don't like interior designers, and I recommend that you don't work with a contractor if they don't like working with designers, unless you're just hiring them to build a patio out back or something that is very simple and black and white. And straightforward. But otherwise, I do recommend working with a designer. The second thing you're going to want to do, and maybe even the first thing, would be to look into your HOA. Chances are, if you are in Las Vegas, you live in an HOA community and there are rules and regulations that you have to follow, design guidelines you have to follow, and usually a review process with the Architectural Review Committee, or also known as the ARC. They usually have deadlines to submit all of your materials and drawings and measurements. You'll have guidelines to follow, like I know in Red Rock Country Club, I have to paint all of the colors on the proper spots of the house that I want to change on the exterior, which brings me to another point. You generally don't have to contact your HOA if you're doing interior work. It's generally just for exterior work. I wanted to make sure to point that out. But you're going to want to start researching that and researching your general contractor at this time, especially if you're not going to go the designer route. So talking about contractors and doing your research, my next tip is to get several bids. Don't just go off the first one you got because you really got along well with the guy when he came to your door. Because of course he's going to be on his best behavior. He's trying to get your business. I generally use the rule of thumb of interviewing or getting bids from 3 different contractors or 3 different designers if they all use their own contractors. The idea is not to find the cheapest bid. I rarely go with the cheapest contractor. I generally end up going middle of the road to the high end of the road because remember, you get what you pay for, and it's true in contracting as well. There are a lot of shady and shoddy contractors out there, so remember, you get what you pay for. Don't think this bid process is to get the cheapest bidder. This is not the time to cut corners. The fourth tip I have for you is to interview your contractors. What are you looking for when you're interviewing a contractor? Well, first of all, you want to see his work. I like to see past photos. I like to ask for references. I call the references and I ask if there were any problems, especially towards the end. Contractors like to do a great job up until the last 30 days or so, and then they really start tapering off, and then sometimes they just disappear. So always hold back some money so that doesn't happen to you, or it alleviates some of the time that lapses between getting your job done and when they promise to have your job done. You're also going to want to be sure that he can complete your vision, because everyone has a different vision and not all contractors can actually do certain jobs. So this is something I like to make sure of during this interview process on site. This is something that you should be doing in your home or wherever you're going to be having this remodel project done. You're going to want to ask about their experience, their licenses, and be sure that they are insured. And always contact the contractors board to be sure if they have any complaints. Were they satisfied? Can you research what those complaints were? Those are some of the things that I like to look at in this meeting. You can always find your contractors board by just Googling your county or state or city, however it's set up where you are. A really big thing I like to figure out during this interview process is if we're going to get along. I know that this sounds like it shouldn't matter, but this person is going to be heading your job. So he's going to be in and out of your house. I should say he or she is going to be in and out of your house several times a day, every day until your project is done, which could be months depending on how big your project actually is. So if you don't get along with this guy or he's intimidating, you shouldn't work with him, because the chances that something is going to go wrong, and I'm not even talking about big wrong, I'm just talking about little mistakes. The chances of that happening are very high, and you're going to want to be able to communicate effectively with this person. So during this interview process, it's a good idea to make sure that you're not intimidated, or you just seem like you butt heads in areas, or maybe you think he's cocky, whatever it may be. Feel that part out as well during this process before you hire them. Before I get into number 5, if you're new to my channel, my name is Lisa Lopez and I was born and raised in Las Vegas. I'm a real estate consultant that specializes in luxury real estate. And if you have any questions or needs with real estate help in the Las Vegas area, I'm here for you. You can contact me anytime. All of my information is in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to keep getting more videos like this one. Okay, let's get right into number 5. So I would think that this is a given, but you need to make sure you get everything in writing. You have to have a contract. It should have start dates and end dates. It should specifically lay out any brands or specific materials that are promised during verbal meetings. It should have pricing spelled out. One thing I notice a lot that gets overlooked in this process is the cost of a change order, because if your project is big enough, the chances of you having a change during the construction process is pretty high. So you're going to want to know how much that might cost you down the road. You're also going to want to know any payment schedules. How much do they want down up front? At what point do they want different progress payments? What percentage is that progress payment? Or how much is that dollar figure? And then how much is the holdback at the end? Remember, I told you you need a holdback to make sure they complete and tie up all loose ends of your project. And you're going to want to be sure that it is signed by both parties. So, pop quiz. What is the most important document that you should have in place before hiring a contractor? comment below. Is it A, a written schedule, B, an insurance policy, C, a written contract, or D, a building permit? So my sixth and final tip is probably the most important tip of all, and that is maintaining clear communication with your contractor and designer, if there is one, at all times. The way I like to do it is, in the beginning, if my project is big enough, I'm there about once a week. And then when the finishes start getting installed, I'm there probably 1 to 2 times a day, because the most important thing is catching the mistake early on, because that will keep your project on a more efficient timeline and you'll be able to complete it on time, or more likely on time than not. A lot of times what I have my contractors do on that weekly check-in is walk me through the work that has been completed throughout the week and make plans for the work that's about to take place in the next week or the coming week. This helps alleviate mistakes, and then again, it also helps catch those mistakes early on and just streamlines your project by like tenfold. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you do need any help searching for your next remodel project, remember, you can reach out to me anytime via text, phone, or email. All of my information is in the description below. And I've enjoyed making this video for you. I can't wait to see you next week on my next one. Have a great week.